Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm your host, Amanda Lamb. It may have happened to you. You get a ding in your windshield. Windshield repair companies say business is booming. As our population grows, so does traffic. The more cars on the road, the more chances there are for your windshield to get damaged. But who's at fault when this happens? Five on Your Side's Keely investigated one man's fight to get a trucking company to pay for the damage to his windshield. She joins us with what she learned. Keely, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I'm going to admit it. I've been driving around for maybe 2 years with a ding in my windshield, and I went to one of those companies that puts the glue on it and stops it from spreading. I mean, I think it's happened to all of us. So
this is a universal experience at this point. Yeah.
It's very frustrating. And, we all know that replacing a windshield is expensive. So you were in touch with Craig Overway of Nightdale, and he says his windshield was cracked after something came off a local trucking company, a local truck. And tell us how this unfolded.
So he had emailed me twice. I always say with our viewers, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. We get a lot of people who need our help, and it's just difficult to reach them all. A lot of people need a lot of help. But this guy, he had his dream car, was a fancy Audi, and he bought it in January of this year. He was driving. His wife was taking a bar exam in Chapel Hill, and he was driving to bring her lunch. And they always say 40 and 440 are the two places where you're going to really experience being pelted with this kind of stuff. So he was behind a truck called connected to Pull and Boy Hauling. It's a truck company based in Rollsville. And he saw stuff flying off their car. Nothing was secured, he said. And he started feeling it hitting the kind of body of his car, and then cracked his windshield. At some point, don't do this, but he took his phone out because he wanted evidence. He was driving, took his phone out.
So he was videoing.
He got video of it, and you can see clearly in the video all the stuff falling off the truck. You can hear the noise. You can hear his anger in his voice. So he kind of felt that he had video evidence. Now, I will tell viewers, get a dash cam, because you need to have video showing the rock actually hitting your car, creating that dent, that crack.
And we never want to encourage anybody to be holding up a phone while they're driving.
Maybe if your passenger is next to you, fine.
But not the driver,
But
for
people
sure.
get so mad because they know it. Car replacement windows or windshields are so expensive now because cars are outfitted with all these sensors. And so when you take the windshield off, you have to reprogram the car. And it's not like $100 fix like it used to be.
Right.
It's $500,000, $600,000, $700,000.
So did he get any response from the trucking company?
No, he didn't get any. And he had the video. It showed the label of the truck. There was the logo on the truck. He reached out, LinkedIn, social media, email, called, you name it. And then because he couldn't get a hold of them, he contacted us. And I went to their listed business address. It's kind of like a shared workspace, so nobody was there. And then I got an email from Denisha Pullen, who was the owner. And she said, we're not a trucking company. We've never owned a truck.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. Okay, so we did a little teaser before the break. You were talking about you reached out to the trucking company. You sent them an email. They said, oh, we don't own any trucks. And then I'm assuming you sent her the video?
Yeah, so we had sent her the video originally, and then what we did is Denisha Pullen did an interview with WRAL News during the pandemic about her trucking company not getting COVID relief funding. So I sent her a link to the story. I said, we interviewed you about your trucking company. And then we looked up, and their company is very much registered
with the Secretary of State.
They have 4 trucks. They have 4 drivers. They're a trucking company unless there's something totally amiss and there's 2 Denisha Pullens connected to Pull and Boy Hauling. I don't know. But we believe, and that's why we're comfortable running these stories, we do a lot of vetting. We believe that this company definitely owns trucks, and they definitely
knew that they were at fault in this situation. I mean, what are the glass companies telling you about the number of calls for service and that they're getting?
They're getting. I mean, if you Google Raleigh replace my cracked windshield, I mean, there's so many companies, but they're all
really busy.
Yeah, and I think making a lot of money. I mean, and the company that we interviewed, they were a fairly new company, Raleigh Auto Glass, and they said that they get 300 calls at least for service every month, and that they know that they're not the only ones getting this kind of business.
And they said, as you stated in the first half of the show, that most of this is happening on the highways.
Yeah. And then like you think about the people, it's like 40 and 440. So people like going to Research Triangle Park, and then people who like live in the suburbs. They told me they wish they could have more business just like in downtown Raleigh for ease of use. But there's a lot. It's always the people who live in the suburbs, and then they're commuting to work.
And
then
they're
driving
commuting
back.
a long way on a crowded highway where there are trucks, and things can fall off the trucks, obviously. And are they hearing stories from their customers about whether anybody's being held responsible for the damage?
Yeah. So something we talk about in the story, there's a difference between being responsible for cracking someone's windshield and being held responsible. It's really, really, really hard to prove. That's why I recommend getting a dash cam. There were some like legal things that if the rock or pellet thing drops on the concrete or the highway and bounces, they might not be responsible.
Wow. So it's very like lots of
really hard
splitting
to prove.
hairs. Yeah.
And then people, it's emotional. It's a big bill. So what my advice would be, dash cam, file an incident report. And then what we recommended Overway do is reach out to his insurance and have them get involved. Your insurance doesn't want to pay out a claim either. They want to go after the other company's insurance.
But then you might have a deductible, so that's where that comes in.
Yeah, you have the deductible, but I mean, in his case, it was such an expensive windshield. It would have been better for him to go that route.
Right.
He tried to get it repaired, and it was just he needed a full replacement.
And they will fight. Help fight that battle.
Yeah, and if you're filing under comprehensive, then your rate's not going to go up because of it. Now, in his case, he had like $4,000 of damage because there were dents on the body of his car.
So it wasn't just the
and
windshield.
That would have been considered like an accident in that case, and his rate could have gone up. But if he just was filing with the windshield, he would have been fine.
And the incident report, is that with the police department?
Yeah, make sure you have that so that way you can turn that over to insurance. It's just like a proof, and it's like an official document kind of what happened, or your side of it at least.
Gotcha. Well, this is definitely something that I think, like you said, it's universal. We can all relate to it. And unfortunately, it seems to be happening more. So thank you so much for bringing this to our attention, Keely. And if you'd like to hear more episodes, please follow WRAL Daily Download in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or just about on any podcast app. Once you follow the show, you'll automatically get new episodes every weekday. As always, thanks for listening to the WRAL Daily Download.